What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and this is Big Games BS, part of Den Media Group, presented by AlphaClinicOnline.com. AlphaClinicOnline.com is the go-to website for all things enhancement. Like your body is getting old, you're getting weary, you need to make sure that your body is up to par, that you're able to withstand. Imagine being 10 years younger. That's all we're trying to do. We're not really trying to, you don't want to go and be 18. We don't need to be stupid again. What we need though is if you were 40 years old like me and you were operating at your 30-year-old strength, what would you be? How would life be different for you? Those are all things that AlphaClinicOnline.com can help you get to and through. Hold on. All right. What we got, Jada?
A lot of NFL news to catch up on. Good evening, though. March 5th. We're going to start off with FSU, talk about baseball, women's basketball, track. Pull up this funny viral video of Jared Verse getting his ankle snatched in a friendly 1v1 pickup game. Then the major news with college is the ACC settlement. We're going to get into that. In college, and it's going from college to the NFL, there's been a lot of news, a lot of movements going around the league. We'll make sure to touch up on the major moves going around and some of the college players transitioning into the NFL with that. Then we're going to finish our Big Games BS segment to conclude the show. It's going to have a little funny jokes in there, a couple little sad pieces, little happy pieces, commemorative pieces. So first things first, we're going to get into FSU baseball. Share this with you all. Let me share this with you all. So FSU beat UNF, Jacksonville's own, 10-1. So kudos to them for getting the job done. Not moving on to women's basketball, the All ACC first team list came out. And yes, we have 3 players. Yes, you heard me, 3 players who are on the list. Omari Gordon, Michaela Timpson, and Tania Latson. You see right here, 3 first teams on the same team. So huge shout out to them as well. Michaela Timpson getting the All ACC Defensive Team Award too. So huge shout out to Michaela. Keep doing your thing on that end. And we cannot forget about Tania, who's leading the D1 women's basketball entirety in points per game. She's still the leading scorer, and she has also been named a top 5 finalist for the Ann Myers Drysdale Shooting Guard of the Year award. So huge shout out to them. And finishing off our FSU segment, going to the track and field. So, James, I know you're going to like this one. Andre Korbmacher was the champion in the men's 60-meter hurdles. I know you like the spicy whites, as you say, so definitely spicy white.
Got to have an exciting white. We didn't get one in the combine, so it's just sad day. You would think in 2025 with so much momentum, it would be like this would be the year. I mean, it like that, 4 or 5's back in office, and people are empowered. You'd think more DEI, all the DEI language. You would think we get more whites in football, but we got them in track, so that's important.
Then we're going to Shanice Walker. She was a women's 60-meter champion, and she defends her ACC title in the women's 60 meters, crossing the line with a winning time of 7.21 seconds. And then we got to cap it off with Kyvon Tatum, who was the men's triple jump champion with a winning distance of 15.91 meters. So huge shout out to the champions in track right here. And then to recap, to cap off our FSU segment, we have a funny video of Jared Verse getting his ankle snatched by what it seems like an elementary or middle schooler.
Is that Thomas Castellanos?
Yeah, that's what the street's been saying, James. They were this is Tully in the back. This is a different room in Tully. So yeah, they playing it. But enjoy this video, y'all.
Do him back. Do him nasty. You gotta make it. You gotta make it. Oh my God. Oh my. Bro, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. He's living for that shot. That's why I don't hoop. Not about to use me to get clout and if fans.
Every time Jared Verse gets a sack,
they're gonna play that video.
that little kid gonna be like, I broke his ankle.
So next we have the ACC settlement. Now there's a lot of news coming out with this, and we'll do a great job of breaking this down for you all so we all can understand it together, so you all can be informed about what's going on. So first things first, I'm going to share this with you all per ESPN right here. So you can read the title: ACC Florida State Clemson reach revenue distribution settlement. So what does that mean? The ACC Florida State and Clemson ended their ongoing litigation Tuesday after agreeing to a settlement that changes the league's revenue distribution method model, significantly reduces exit penalties for members wanting to leave the conference before 2036. So just read a little bit further. Scrolling down. As a result of the settlement, the penalty to leave the conference has been significantly reduced. The grant of rights remains in place through 2036, but beginning next year, the exit fee will be $165 million. That fee then declines by $18 million per year, leveling at $75 million in 2030 to 2031. Any team that pays an exit fee can leave with its media rights intact. Currently, any school that wants to leave before June 2036 must pay 3 times the operating budget, a figure that would be almost about $120 million, plus control of that team's media rights through the conclusion of the grant of rights. So what does this mean entirely? The ACC sued both schools to preserve the grant of rights agreement through 2036 because Clemson and FSU filed lawsuits against the ACC. James, what have you been hearing on the discourse on Twitter, online, in your group chats about the settlement? Is it good for FSU? Good for the ACC as a whole? What are your thoughts about it?
It's a terrible deal for the ACC. It's an amazing deal for FSU and Clemson. It's basically FSU and Clemson got everything that they wanted and have basically made it known that Florida State and Clemson run the conference. Without Florida State and Clemson, you don't have a conference. You don't have a deal. And unfortunately, it took people saying, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to challenge this. We're going to challenge every aspect of this in court. And when people were just like, oh, this is a dumb case, you don't have this is why you sign contracts. I was like, you've never paid attention to anything else. The most ironclad contract that anybody can sign technically is a marriage contract. And them bitches get broke every motherfucking day. And what happened is we saw the other people getting treated better in other conferences, and the ACC started as the conference that was the aggressor in the changing landscape of media and trying to build conferences. What they did for Miami and VTech, getting them to leave the Syracuse, and then doing it twice. The ACC started with being an innovator. And then they got lackluster. Then they allowed the SEC to create this campaign that they have the best football. Then they allowed the Big Ten to come in and create another campaign that said that we have the second best football. And we should be able to block everybody out without realizing that the ACC in Florida State and Clemson control most of the national championships that have not been won by SEC schools. And I've always had this statement that the top 2 teams in every conference could probably compete with anybody in the nation. And that's just the truth, and that's the nature of everything. You cannot do this that way and expect to be able to compete. When Florida State's as a university, our entire mission, I say ours, being as I'm an alumni, is to be better than the University of Florida. And you can't be better than the University of Florida. And this is quoting our athletic director almost 2 years ago, giving up $50 million a year in revenue deals. So this gets Florida State and Clemson closer because what it's going to be is it's based upon the last 5 years. So do you know who has the best viewership the last 5 years? On average, FSU and Clemson. So Florida State in the next 5 years will get the lion's share of all of the money along with Clemson. And this includes if they go to the college football playoff, that gives you more money. And guess what? The schools that were sitting around complaining, why are you suing, laughing, saying Florida State had no case, you know what you get now? You get less. You get less money for being a bitch. A coward dies 1,000 deaths. And now you get to die every day that you see Florida State in this conference. While you're doing the same thing that you've been doing, Florida State's going to get more money. And the problem is what people didn't realize, what did Florida State have to lose? Let's say all the cases won. Let's say the ACC would have won, right? You'd still be in that shitty ass contract until 2036. Like at least you would have known there was nothing else that you could do. But going back to everybody who says that Florida State, why they sue, or even when they settled. Check this. What was the whole purpose? The purpose was we wanted more money. You paid more money. You made concessions. You showed the world that we do run this conference. You basically stated that in your settlement. And you know what people what people don't do when they know they have an ironclad contract? Fucking settle. But I told you guys that. You listen to everybody else. We were on the trajectory to get the fuck out of there. But what we did was, again, watch Texas. What people don't realize is Texas was leaving to go to the Pac-12 some years ago. Yeah. Hold on. Hello? What's up, bro?
So yeah, just to share with you all just a little more insight about the new revenue distribution model that James was mentioning. I'll read it right here on the screen. So the new revenue distribution model or brand initiative will be based on a 5-year rolling average. 60% of total ACC television revenue will go towards this initiative. More weight will be given to more recent viewership. So that's what James was mentioning. Clemson and FSU being at the top of that pile, getting the most amount of money. A team's total viewership will then be divided by the total ACC viewership to equal its percentage of the money available in this pool. The other 40% of this television revenue will be distributed evenly among all league schools. And so with that, the ACC, FSU, and Clemson released a joint statement that we're going to get into. I won't read everything just to bore you all, but I'll read the main parts of this. Quote, today's resolution begins the next chapter of this storied league and further solidifies the ACC as a premier conference, said ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips. As we look ahead to our collective long-term future, I want to express my deepest appreciation to the ACC. The league has competed at the highest level for more than 70 years. The settlements, coupled with ACC's continued partnership with ESPN, allows us to focus on our collective future, including Clemson and Florida State united in an 18-member conference. So it says the settlement allows Clemson to remain nationally competitive at the highest levels and also makes our Congress stronger, said Clemson University President Jim Clements. So moving on, we are very pleased to have reached a settlement that benefits not only Florida State, but the ACC as a whole, said our president, Richard McCullough. From the start, we held firm to the belief that the best solution would be the one that enables FSU and every ACC institution to earn enhanced revenue through performance. So James, what I was telling the audience is that this is a joint statement from FSU, Clemson, and ACC. The presidents of the school and the commissioner of the ACC giving their condolences to one another in the conference.
I mean, we got everything we wanted. We just want a little bit more money. We can get that on the back end. But crazy is, oh, you're going to have to pay every penny of that GOR, man. The GOR is ironclad. The GOR ain't worth the piece of paper that it was that was printed on, man. You see how low that shit is? Like, I mean, we good now, so we can ride around for a couple more years. But the thing is if the goal is to compete with everybody, we got to be making more than 30 million or whatever the fuck it is. It's just it was ridiculous. But like, I always said 155 was the number though, if I remember correctly. I know we had that number, but no, it doesn't make sense. They're gonna give us our paper. They needed to try to flex and show that they were somebody. And they had to show that they were somebody, and now we're here. One of the things that's been my pet peeve here over the last couple weeks, right, is people not understanding leverage and pretty girl privilege. And you can try to water it down to what you see now as much as you want to. But let's be real. Florida State, since I've been alive in the last 40 years, has been one of the better, more watched programs in college football history. So, like, to pretend like that's not necessarily true is just to be a hater. And out of all the flavors you could possibly be in the world, don't be salty. Like, just relax and just understand that, it has nothing to do with you. We're just better. And the school that should be behaving, and they're going to get what they deserve as well, is Miami. Miami's like right there at number 3, but it's nowhere near what Florida State and Clemson's are. And it just leaves us it leaves better things, man. So I'm all for it. I'm happy for it. Now we can move on and focus on other things that are more important.
Speaking of focusing on other things, we're going to shift to the NFL. First things first, we got to give a huge shout out to some of the players representing an HBCU. Now we got Carson Vincent, Alabama A&M, Travis Hunter from Jackson State, obviously Shadur from there as well, and Basul Tutton from North Carolina A&T. So it's important to note that Carson.
No way, Basul was from North Carolina A&T.
So Carson is the only one to represent his HBCU. The 3 others transferred to a different school. Jackson State to Colorado, and then North Carolina A&T to Virginia Tech.
No, I'm still like that. I didn't realize that, man. That's good. Kudos to them. I wish I wasn't aware about that.
So shout out to HBU Premier Sports for posting this picture. Wanted to share with you all. And then, man, Carson Vincent always shouts out our boy, and I think he needs a shot. Willie Lampkin. Got a chance to talk with him at the Senior Bowl. And look at his measurables, James. 5'10", and he has a bigger wingspan, 78 in the 8th than 6'5" Gray Zabel and 6'6" Will Campbell. James, just a quick take right quick. What do you think will happen with Willie Lampkin, his career from now? And do you think, if anything, he'll get a shot one day, or what advice would you give him right now?
What I would give him is just go out and show out, and show your versatility. I really think he's going to be a hell of a fullback. What we're looking at, again, people don't realize this sometimes, because when you're short and a little stocky, you got a little chest. Like my arms are really long, and I don't think people, like, I've heard people, oh, you got them short arms. I'm like, bitch, my arms are not fucking short. Trust me, these bitches is long. I can almost scratch my kneecaps. And I'm looking at Willie, and he's got the same exact wingspan as some of the guys who are considered top offensive line prospects. Like, this man could be a game changer. He could be something that just a road grader. Just get him in there. He's just maybe he might have to tone up just a little bit more. We know he can pull. I mean, he plays guard. He was the ACC lineman of the year. Like, give the kid. We obviously know my man can play, and it'll be amazing to see what he could do on the football field, on the NFL, especially with a coordinator that might be willing to be able to be outside the pocket. Yeah, it's gonna be definitely a story. Let me tell you the story of old Willie Lampkin. It seemed like it should be like a not a I don't know, like a country beat, like a country, like. Let me tell you the story about an old Willie Lampkin from out of the tobacco fields of North Carolina. small in stature, but the large man would go out there and mow down linebackers like he was killing Nazis in no man's land. Oh, Willie Lampkin. Oh man, I think they should.
Man, Texas, there's a lot of fast people in Texas, James. If you know, you know.
Mhm.
So, but this reason we talking about the combine. So I read this interesting stat. Over the last 2 years, the University of Texas has had four different receivers run sub 4.4s and reach a top speed of 23.5 plus miles per hour in the 40-yard dash.
That's moving.
These players were Xavier Worthy, Isaiah Bond, Adonai Mitchell, Matthew Golden, and Jaden Blue. Man, that speed is crazy, James. Sub 4.4?
That's skedaddling, bro. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I'm gonna break the record. Man, you run 4.4. Don't say nothing to me.
We have to talk about Shador and how some of the management on his teams are saying that he's coming off as, quote, brash and arrogant. So this news was broken by Josina Anderson, and I'll read you some of the information.
Of course,
here.
Josina broke the news.
I'm disappointed.
Me always hitting after the whistle, man. That's who I was trying to think of the other day, Jaden. Like I just call her the cat lady. She just reminds me like of who's the lady? Man, don't meet your idols, man.
Oh, really?
It's just oh man. Should I tell this before we get into this? Should I tell this the personalized story, Jaden, about Josina and a friend of the show?
I don't remember what that is.
Okay, well, friend of the show, Carolina Blitz. She speaks her mind. And I don't think she understands that the voice in her head is she says it out loud sometimes.
Yeah.
We were walking, and we walked literally, Miles. We walked right past her. As soon as we walked past her, not 5 yards, she could have held her breath for 5 more seconds. It had been out of a clear line of sight to be able to talk about people. She says, "Why is her heels always leaning?" I was like right when we're walking past her, she's just like, and she's looking around like, yo. I was like, yo, V, it's not safe. Like you said that right in front of her. She's like, yeah, but I wanted to know why is her heels always leaning. I'm like, it's not accomplished. She's like, I wasn't saying anything offensive. I was like, that is not a compliment. She's far from overweight. She's very much so a track athlete, and she's petite. She just reminds me of who is the lady? She played in Boomerang too. She's always played like I think she's been a Bond girl, but she was Catwoman in the old Batman. No, not Halle Berry. I'm talking about old. I'm talking about really old lady, man. Hold on, man.
Oh, Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt. Come on, yeah. Like, hey, hold on, man.
How do youngin beat y'all? That's crazy.
Yeah, don't do Eartha Kitt now. But Eartha Kitt when she was like in her prime was like a bad woman. And Josina was like, when did the Jags go on the playoff from 2017? So 2017 was finer than a motherfucker. But now it's like I've seen her so many times, and like I've seen the makeup and stuff. Just thought, and I think it was also at the Super Bowl. She had like this black outfit on that was like skin tight. So I'm thinking that was the other reason why I'm thinking she's like cat. She reminds me of a cat woman. But like I'm saying, Eartha Kitt was fine. Right. I'm just saying, just like nobody want to believe me. Who's the other old lady? She's always played a grandmother in my entire life. So that's why I thought she was just old. But damn, I'm forgetting all these old female actors. Cicely Tyson. Nobody wants to believe that there are pictures of Cicely Tyson. Cicely Tyson used to be fine, like in the 60s, man. Like But it's a little tough right now when she's been 90 years old for 30 years. Oh, well, she was. Excuse me. I think Cicely's gone.
Yeah,
I'm not
she's
sure.
dead. She's dead. Yeah. But getting back into
Yeah.
the Shadur Sanders news. So, quote, I'm disappointed to hear that a quarterbacks coach from a team drafting in the top 7 referred to Shador as coming off as, quote, brash and arrogant in his team interview and making his assessment known to a number of people per source. While she did not name the team, Sanders appeared to go out of his way to acknowledge multiple media members, regardless if they're recognizable or not. He seemed cordial, polite, witty, thoughtful, along with being confident. According to league sources, the QB coach seemed to have issue with the culture of athletes who have broad fame and financial success before entering the NFL, and in their opinions, appear to them to have a problem certain athletes. I'll leave it at that. So, James, what do you think of these assessments of Shador? Are they fair? Are they warranted? What is your thoughts?
It's not fair at all. I mean, I think it's a lazy ass argument. Just like this person who put up, Shador won't run a 40, so I'm going to time the only time he's broke a 40-yard run or more when he played at Jackson State, and he was a 5.23 in pads. I'm like, I said, brother, you are a top-notch hater. It's not hater, it's evaluating. Bitch, evaluating a 40-yard dash in full pads, like without any context. I've never heard that before. Like, again, we live in a world that's really weird, right? That's really that's thrown off. Like, there are people, too many people who, like, I think Shadur's whole gimmick of I got haters is like the rapper who talks about how rich they are and mad that everybody wants to talk about how, like, it tells everybody they're rich and how poor everybody else is. It doesn't understand why people might not like them. Like, that's part of the reason why you're like you're dissing the very fan base that's trying to buy your music. But I'll say this: the stuff that they're trying to manufacture, like, just keep it to the game. If you don't think he holds on to the real critiques, he holds on to the ball too long. He'd rather take a sack than an incompletion to protect his completion percentage for some reason. Relies way too much on boom. It's way too much. It's either the big play or it's a slant or it's a screen. That's what it seems like. That's the system. Some of that's on the system. Some of that's on the player. One thing I will say is this past season, they were never out of a game outside of when they got their asses whooped. But I think it's completely unfair that people are judging him based upon his dad because he's confident. Like, that makes absolute. What do you want your quarterback? Like, what do you want, a meek? Yes, I'm just so grateful to be here, and I just hope that I get given the opportunity. Like, it's just like, even when people talk about the athlete that likes God, like you like the athlete that likes God that doesn't say anything. Every athlete prays. Damn near 99% of all those athletes know the Lord's Prayer, and they break it down. They do all that stuff. And 99, and just like you, 99% of you are completely different from the religion that you proclaim. Not here to judge you for that. I'm just saying, like you say, you want something that you don't necessarily embody or even care about. You want wins. And either you believe Shador can give it to you or not. And if anything, the man's been rich and famous, or let me rephrase that, a variation of wealthy his entire life. He didn't come from the bottom. And if anything, he knows how to handle how the celebrity, because he's had cameras in his face since he was like 6. Between his dad having a reality TV show, seeing his parents be in a very bitter vocal and public divorce, going off to college and doing something that nobody ever would have thought would have been done, by having being part of a team of guys that signed to an HBCU, then also utilizing it, because God said go to Jacksonville State, and then God told him to not be there anymore, go to the whitest place on earth in Colorado, and be very publicized, very public. Everything that you do is scrutinized. Even into your training, where you train with a guy by the name of Cam Ward, who's also like one of the best quarterbacks, as one of your good friends. Like, what more would you want? I mean, again, I'm not even selling. I don't want Shadur anywhere near the Jags. But what I want is people to like not take it over the top. Yeah, give him a fair assessment. If you think he stinks, then just say he stinks. And back it up with stats, because there's plenty of data there to say he stinks. Like, I mean, it's just, there's no need to say the extra shit. You know what the extra shit just makes me believe? It really, in my heart of hearts, makes me believe you're just a hater, and I don't want to listen to anything else that you have to say. And one of the things that the most cowardly thing, and I always every year, you know, we should start doing it. It's worse than list Twitter. Is anonymous GM, anonymous scout. This is their time to flourish. You can say whatever you want to say about somebody and just sprinkle anonymous GM, anonymous scout. I know them, so I could just put them up. Anonymous GM says such and such stinks. Like, you could just say how you feel, and then put it on a person, put it on no face, no case. Well, if the guy's too much of a coward to stand on it, then that's why I respected the fuck out of Bill Polian. Bill Polian didn't try to hide none of his shit. Bill Polian knew he didn't hang out. He didn't like a Negro being his quarterback. Bill Polian would tell you some stuff like, Lamar Jackson's too short, but too short to play quarterback. He needs to play something more natural, a receiver. And say Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the draft, who's 2 inches shorter than Lamar. But he didn't hide behind it. You knew Bill Polian cokehead ass said that. But this other stuff, man, is I'd rather you stand on it. Like, I said it. Not anonymous Geo. Person who watches football says he doesn't like Shadur Sanders' throwing motion. Like, be real. Don't be. That's why they don't respect people. And like I thought, now Jaden, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. But I actually thought him and Travis Hunter were both very respectful. They had a big smile on their face, and they engaged pretty decently with the with the gang, right?
Yeah, they didn't seem too arrogant or brash during the media session.
Yeah, like, how dare he be rich? How, you know what? This is what it really is. This is what they sound like. How dare he not give us the story that we want to have for every NFL football player? Dad's been incarcerated for 30 years. Like, how has he been incarcerated for 30 years and you're only 22? We have no idea, but that's my dad. It's kind of like the like that baby. Now, him, just because you name him after me doesn't mean he's mine, but that there baby is not mine. That is a rice-skinned ass baby. Like, that's what you got, stuff like that. The dog died. Grandmother has polio. Sister got measles, and you had to come out of a 1-bedroom apartment without a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of. That's what they need. And the fact that good players are coming from decent homes with active fathers really bothers people. And I don't understand why that would bother anybody. But yeah, it definitely gave "we don't like you" uppity Negro vibes. It's not your month anymore. Bucko.
So, speaking of the combine world, got to show some love to the Senior Bowl. So, there was 126 players from the Senior Bowl that participated in this year's NFL Combine. So, a lot of numbers there. And then the Combine released their all offensive and defensive team, and 12 Reese's Senior Bowl members were a part of these two teams as well. Our boy Landon Jackson James, was at the Super Bowl. He's part of the team as well. So, man, he's been balling out, doing his thing. Some other familiar names from the Senior Bowl: Trevor Etienne. Then you got Josh Cornerly, Basul Tutton on the defensive side. You got Caleb Ransaw, Eugene Asante, Nick Martin. So, huge shout out to these guys for keeping balling and trying to continue their career. So we got to go into all of the moves that's been happening during this offseason, this NFL offseason, and there's a lot of things that occurred. But first things first, we're going to start out big with Saquon. So Saquon, signed a 2-year, $41.2 million contract extension that makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history. The deal makes Barkley the NFL's first $20 million per year running back. Barkley also has the ability to earn an additional $15 million in incentives and escalators. The deal includes $36 million fully guaranteed at signing. The Eagles are taking the rare step of extending Barkley 1 year into his 3-year deal, and in the same league year in which they signed him to the initial contract. James, what do you think about Saquon getting his bread and making an NFL record?
I think it's long overdue. I know the Eagles are happy that the Giants were stupid. But I also think it's showing that the change is about to happen. A little shift is going to happen. We're going to get more physicality. We're going to bring the manhood back. We're going to make the NFL great again. So we see what happens with quarterbacks. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with the Eagles quarterback. Jalen Hurts is really, really good, but we clearly see that next step was taken by giving them Saquon. Saquon, you have to account for him. And if you don't account for him, then he's gonna eat your lunch. And if you do account for him, and that's what makes the wide receivers, the tight ends, and everything else that the Eagles have a lot more effective. So that's really where it comes down to is you gotta that's why I'm happy about it. But when you look at him, Derrick Henry, you've got a litany of backs that are coming up that are just extremely talented. And if you just let them go after the first contract, especially in a league where they're trying to use two backs, I think that's going to be pretty foolish. Like you're going to have to, there's so much money that you're going to have to start spreading it around on the roster.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of money, especially with the cap space getting extended now. And speaking of the Eagles, they re-signed Zach Bonch, arguably one of the top candidates. Well, not even arguably one of the top candidates for a defensive player in the year this year. So Zach, just read the details of this. They're re-signing All-Pro linebacker Zach Bonch to a 3-year, $51 million contract, including $34 million guaranteed at signing, in addition on 1.5 in incentives and escalators. So he's one of the highest paid linebackers in the NFL. James, I know they got him out of free agency, if I believe. They got him to the Eagles. And correct me if I'm wrong, but how important is it for Zach Bond to get this money, man, for the Eagles team? And how much of an integral part is he for this defense?
The biggest thing would be to be able to create a pseudo dynasty is trying to keep your core there for as long as possible. And some of the key players, and that's what the Eagles are doing right here, is they're making sure they keep the vocal leaders and keep the guys who are going to be key and integral to get them right back to the exact same position as they were this year. The Lions will be much improved. The Vikings will be much improved. You obviously see the other team. You got the Commanders are much improved. So you've got teams that are trying to buy, that are coming for you. You have to be able to try to keep your advantage and keep the main thing. So like if they're able to keep their vets there and continue to hit in the draft in which they've been hitting, man, the Eagles, they're doing it right.
Yeah, so I had to do a quick look up on this. The Eagles actually did get Zach Bond, I was correct, in free agency for a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. Now he's going to a 3-year, $51 million contract. Speaking of contracts, moving to the Cowboys, staying in the NFC, CeeDee Lamb has agreed to restructure his contract with the Cowboys, creating $20 million in salary cap. Jerry's not even going to use that, so it don't even matter. I want to win. It's going to take more than just myself, said Lamb. James, do you think this was a smart decision by Lamb, or he should have tried to milk Jerry for as much money as he possibly could?
I always try to, at this point, try to get him as much money as you can. It's GM's, or AKA Jerry's, job to be able to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, definitely anticipated to see what the Cowboys do this upcoming season. But one thing they did do was reach an agreement with defensive tackle Osa Odighizuwa. And what this agreement entails is a 4-year, $80 million deal that includes $58 million guaranteed and a $20 million signing bonus. Odighizuwa's agent, Sam Leaf, negotiated and confirmed the deal. So, James, I haven't known too much. Didn't watch too many of the Cowboys games, but from what you know, your knowledge of Osa, how important is Osa to this defensive line, and do you think this was just due for his style of play?
Yeah, I mean they can't replace everybody. They got one piece they really clearly need to do something with that they won't. But their defense at times was pretty good. It's crazy because the NFC East is not far off from any of those guys flipping and taking over. But pass rushers are at a premium on every level, and you got to make sure you have one. So kudos to these guys getting paid. To quote young Dolph, which is crazy, he's been gone. Him and Nipsey Hussle have been gone for as long as they've been gone. Obviously, two different times, but he said rule number one is go and get the money. Rule number two, don't forget the money, and that's basically all you need to. Gotta get paid. Young, knee high, get paid is the song. So let's do your thing. Do your thing, youngins.
Going with the Bears, they have now agreed to trade a 2025 sixth-round pick to the Rams for Jonah Jackson and a 2026 fourth-round pick to the Chiefs for Joe Thuney. They're trying to beef up the protection for Caleb to get this offense rolling to be an actual big contender in the NFC North. And we're going to keep moving on with the – let me fix this. Okay, perfect. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, cool. So moving on from that, the Jets have released wide receiver Devontae Adams. I saw a lot of speculation online that he might go to the Chargers, him being a California kid as well. James, what teams do you think will pick up Devontae in this release process?
Teams that don't need him to do much. They're just looking for a 3 or 4, but he's going to obviously want to get paid a little bit more. I mean, you're talking about a guy who I was trying to say is he put his faith in a conspiracy theorist, and you see what happened. Like he tried to leave to go with Aaron, and it didn't work. And now you got to try to figure out how to create and how to move on from where you're at now. I personally, I think the Chargers do have two guys that they can lean on, and he could be another set of sure hands that can make a play when necessary.
Going to another wide receiver, the Bengals have, in fact, franchise tag T. Higgins for the second time. So they'll hope to do a long-term deal after the more than $26 million tag. And a little fun fact per Adam Schefter, only two players, T. Higgins and Trey Smith, were tagged this year. The fewest numbers of player tags since 1994 when Eric Green and Henry Thomas were tagged. There were 8 players given the franchise tag last year, and they have been at least 6 players tagged in each year going back to 2019. In the previous 5 years, the average number of players given the franchise tag was 9.2 per year. James, do you think the Cincinnati Bengals are playing with T. Higgins' money by giving him the franchise tag for the second time? And what would you do if you were T. Higgins? Would this be the right move you would choose?
I just wouldn't do anything until that's fine. I mean the franchise tag is what is it the average of the top 3 salaries in your position.
Top 5, yeah. So it's around that $26 million price mark, and the quarterbacks is around like 40.
And it's guaranteed as long as you play the first snap. Fuck it. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing your team workouts. I'm not doing nothing because you can't find me. I'll show up when the season starts. But I think it's a crime to do that to somebody twice. But it's an incentive for the teams.
Yeah, like you said, doing it to someone twice definitely is a crime just because you have that potential to chase that bigger bag, that bigger contract at a potentially different team. And coming from the Bengals as well,
let's just say you're 22, right? When you go to the NFL. You signed a 4-year with the 5th-year team option. So that means you're 27 years old by the time you get a chance to finally hit free agency. Bam, they smack you with free agency. Now you're 28 for the next time. Bam, they smack you with the franchise tag. 2 years. Now you're 29. You know what you're no longer worth when you're 29 years old? As much as you were when you were 26, 27. So that's why I don't like it. I think if they franchise you, they should automatically have to make you the highest paid player in that position for that year after free agency is done. Which is crazy. I guess that would be crazy. Like say somebody signs for like $30 million a year, you get 31 if you get franchise tag. And if it happens to be 2 wide receivers that get franchise tag, then they have to wait. They both get neither one. They're tied for the highest paid.
I like that idea. In staying with the Bengals, we have some sudden news coming out of the organization with Sam Hubbard, only 29 years old, but the Bengals defensive end announced that he is retiring from the NFL. Now, he is a hometown kid, if you guys did not know. As a kid growing up in Southwest Ohio, Cincinnati has always been and will always be home to my family and me. He was a draft pick to a starter, to a 4 times captain, and he, went to the Super Bowl, but ended up losing to the Rams. I think he really just wants to focus on the Sam Hubbard Foundation and just really just stay and be that community man that he's grown to be for the city. So, James, what did you think about this story when you first heard it?
He got his bag. He made enough money to be comfortable. Now he wants to go do what he wants to do. That's the whole beautiful thing about doing anything in America. It's making enough money to where you can have your effort money and you're good to go. And you don't really care anymore. So kudos to Sam.
Then we're going to get into some more football news right here. Man, it's payday. It's payday for that man in Vegas. Hope he doesn't spend it on the slots machine, but huge shout out to Max Crosby for signing this enormous deal. So he signed a 3-year, $106.5 million extension that includes $91.5 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. So, James, what do you think about this Money Moves award winner for today, Max Crosby, getting this contract?
Oh, DEI. Nah, he's really good. Max Crosby deserves every piece of it. So shout out to White Chocolate.
Definitely one of the franchise players, if not the only face of the Raiders franchise. And we got some news coming out of the Seattle team as well. So if you guys did not know, yes, DK Metcalf has requested a trade from the Seahawks. Man, James, if you were what kind of team do you think would be on the look for DK? Any teams in particular you have in mind that would like his play?
I mean, a guy who slow development, explosive, but like he's not your number one target. It'll be fun to see him in Carolina. Just with my man with my man who can't talk, and then having DK, they're just gonna be swole out there. But
that'd be a good team, yeah.
Trying to think, Dallas or somewhere. I mean, God forbid, let him get with Lamar out there and be more big wide receiver that's explosive. You got to be able to read. You got to be able to read Lamar and the running backs. That's just another threat. I mean, he's just not great. I mean, so like I know where I don't want him here in Jacksonville. That's not me hating on him, by the way. That's just me saying I just prefer him not be here in Jacksonville. Everything's not hate. Just so people know, there are like real like critiques and like there is hate. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm hating sometimes.
Staying with the Seattle Seahawks, they have released wide receiver Tyler Lockett. and he's on the eye of the Las Vegas Raiders since Pete Carroll is their head coach now, and him and Pete had that long connection with the Seattle Seahawks. So I think this will definitely be a plausible move for Pete. Obviously, they had the repertoire, the chemistry in Seattle, so I wouldn't be surprised if he makes that jump on to Tyler. James, where do you think Tyler will land?
I think that's a good. A good thought process. Typically, you do go where you have pre-established relationships with the coaches. I just thought about Pete Carroll in Vegas is like just makes absolutely no sense. It just doesn't match. He doesn't match Vegas. It's zen. It's too calm. But I think Lockett. I think Lockett stays out west.
Just to read off some information, Seahawks are releasing an all-time franchise great in Lockett. He pot up 8,594 receiving yards and 61 touchdowns across a decade of seasons in Seattle. The Seahawks are opting to release Lockett rather than pay him his $17 million salary for this season, including a $5.3 million roster bonus due on March 6th. So some more information from the league. We have to start at home, man. Start at home with the Jaguars. They have released wide receiver Christian Kirk. So what does that entail? Releasing Christian Kirk will save the Jaguars over $10.4 million against the cap. He will now become a free agent in an increasingly crowded wide receiver market. My question for you, James: what aspects or players do you think we're going to pick up in the free agency market? I've been hearing the Devontae Adams talks, the Cooper Kupp talks. Who do you think would be a viable option to replace Kirk in this situation?
I think Adams or Kupp. I mean, now that you talk about, I don't want DK, but I was thinking that they're going to try to address that in the draft as well. Another wide receiver. You've got Gabe Davis. BTJ is clearly the number one, the guy that you want to put your hedge of bets on. Gabe Davis is there. Evan Ingram's coming back. Maybe find you a more secure, another option in tight end. And, but I think Cooper Kupp would be, again, one of those that would be really, really good over here in this Jags offense.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Cooper Kupp. Obviously witnessing him get that triple crown the year they won the Super Bowl. That was an amazing feat itself, and just a dog, real technical guy. I'm just playing, but no, just a elite route runner. But like to see him in the Jacksonville uniform for sure. But can't forget about Gabe Davis. So we got a good little picture right here from Dove. I'll share this with you all right quick. So what this picture entails is the most points in a quarter in a single game all time. So coming in at number one, you got the Rams with 37 points in a quarter.
Damn.
In the last place, you have the Panthers coming in with only 24 points in a quarter for their maximum number of points scored in a quarter. James, you see Jacksonville's tied for 17th with 28. Any surprising numbers on here?
Yeah, I mean, a quarter, like that's a lot. That's a lot of points. Like that's a team that just gave up to get in the 30s. Like Jesus, like I'd be mad if I were on that team.
Yeah, those were a lot of points right there. So we're going to move on into our big games BS segment, talk about some topics outside the football world, but still revolving around sports and media. The city of Dallas, James, has been going through it, man. If you guys didn't know, in the basketball world, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL and is out for the season. And I saw that you reposted this picture, James, right here. They traded Luka and got hit with the 10 plagues of Egypt. And the fans are going through it. And Anthony Davis, there's been some rumors that he's talked to his camp and he's most likely going to sit out for the rest of the season too. So, and this is on the cusp of Dallas recently coming out and saying they're raising the prices of tickets by 9%, I think. So,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. I forgot Kyrie was with them. I'm glad. I'm sorry. I'm a hate. This is hating. This is no analysis right here. Pure unadulterated hate. If Kyrie would have just sat his ass down somewhere, LeBron would still be in Cleveland. They would have won more championships. But no, he couldn't be. Like, have you noticed how bad his life has been now that he's on his own, doing it on your own? It ain't really good out there. Sometimes you got to let the streets. You got to realize the streets ain't for everyone. That's why they made sidewalks, cuz. And you was out here now. You couldn't happen to a better person. I'm glad none of them are coming there. I don't want anything. I want everything that you try to not prosper.
I'm gonna play this
You did
video.
our king like this.
I'm gonna play this video of Kyrie to make you feel bad for how positive he was on his Instagram live shortly after his injury.
I can't hear it.
We can't hear it. Oh. You got the screen audio muted. You can't hear us. Jaded.
Oh, y'all didn't. Oh, you didn't.
Oh, it's not even on the regular broadcast.
The screen audio is muted.
Oh, I don't know why. It's working on my end for some reason.
It won't let me unmute it either. I don't know.
Here, yeah, but he was pretty much just saying in the video how he was supportive of his fans for getting through the process, and he's just super grateful for that to happen. Coming out of the Fox Sports World, Hall of Fame coach and broadcaster Jimmy Johnson, who won 2 Super Bowls as a coach and a national champion, who won 2 Super Bowls and a national championship as a head coach, announced his retirement from Fox Sports after 31 years with the network. James,
Wow.
how much of an impact did Johnson have on the football culture here?
Oh man, big. Whether it be NFL, college, just all of those different things. I mean, he's the guy who basically, I remember one of the quotes that I heard from him. It was just cold. He's like, "I'm not gonna stop my twos from scoring. It's your job to stop. It's your job to stop my twos from scoring." And you know, when you listen to just the way he coached, the intensity and trying to bring it out of people, it was amazing. And you know, again, it just shows that how Jerry Jones messed up a good thing. Now he went and got a really good coach in Switzer, but he could have probably continued to win if he would have just stayed out of his own way. But Jimmy is a good coach. I actually saw him in the Super Bowl a couple times. Just couldn't be taking no pictures with hurricanes.
Yeah, I had to take a picture for Sheena with him in the Super Bowl in our hotel lobby by the elevator. So yeah, man, congratulations, Jimmy, and another retirement in the same essence. Around the Horn, a beloved show
Crazy,
on
man.
ESPN. So it will host its final episode on Friday, May 23rd. The weekday sports debate and discussion show has aired more than 4,900 episodes over 23 years since its debut on November 4th, 2002. James, how much of a L will the culture take from Around the Horn being gone?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's more symbolism and nostalgia. I mean, the guys like Woody, was it Woody Hayes? Not Woody Hayes. No, some of the guys who were consistently on there. The old Boston guy who was always drunk. He actually got jammed up for being drunk. But like, just I'm not really looking to a lot of those guys for any more hot takes. But when this stuff first started, like PTI, Around the Horn, you know, the sports reporters Like guys used to actually be really good at this. Like give you a good opinion, like with some thought in it. And now it's like everybody's just trying to be a hot take wizard without having any real hot takes. It's like, or won't be able to stand on it. Like everybody's not Stephen A. Everybody's not Cam. Everybody's not, just sometimes some people are just really smart students of the game. I used to like the sports reporters. I used to like the journalism aspect of it. Now it's about it's about playing the dozens and who can say the best. That's why I think the guys who do a pretty good job of it tend to, will outlast everybody. But at a certain point, we got to just get over this cattiness that we have. But and that's why I feel like around the horn it got to. But originally it was very much so just being quick. Like people don't realize how tough it is to be that quick on your feet, to be able to give a concise argument, basically within a reel. That's why I laugh when people have these such really thought up comments to respond to a 90-second post. Like 60. Like it's not like we really, bro, we didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah, so huge shout out to Around the Horn for eclipsing 23 years of being online. James Oscar De La Hoya was wilding, and he wasn't caught up with the times, man. Having a press conference, and it was in New York, so they had to hit him with the AO.
Hey, yo.
I just want to let you know. Let me know if you can hear the video once I start playing it.
No.
I don't know why the video was not playing the audio of it, but I'll just recap it for the audience as well. So pretty much what happened is that Oscar De La Hoya said he is hungry to get on top, and then everybody in the crowd said, "Hey, yo," and then he looks confused right here. I'll be playing the video in the background. And he looks confused in the background once everybody says "Ayo," and then Ryan Garcia quickly informed him that you forgot to say pause or say no Diddy, bro, and he was just lost.
Ryan Garcia is the one who took the drugs and beat the boy senseless, right?
He was the one who fought Tank, and he lost the Tank.
Yeah, but didn't he get in trouble for drugs?
I think so. Yeah, he did.
He was wilding over the summer, right?
Yeah, he was saying some wild stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were, but so does Oscar, man. We know Oscar likes to wear pantyhose, so that's why none of this really surprises me at all. Like Oscar's a little, I don't know if he's Spanish or if he's gay, but we definitely know he a little zesty.
Hungry to get on top. He's hungry to be world champion. What?
Oh shit! Pause, man. You gotta pause. There's no Diddy.
My bad. All right, this guy there, ready to just get on top of the boxing world. He's ready.
Hey man, hey yo, he was aggressive with it too.
Yeah. Fight. He's hungry. He's hungry to get on top. He's hungry to be world champion. What?
Oh shit! Pause, man. You gotta pause. There's no Diddy.
My bad. All right, this guy.
Nah, that's how Puffy be acting too. When you be catching him with some shit and he be smiling like he's like, I was just playing unless you're gonna do it. That's basically what they saying, man. Hungry to get on top.
Man, y'all are wildin', man. Y'all are wildin'.
Hey, man, listen. That's him, man, over here wearing pantyhose and try to excuse it.
I know, right? Come on, bro.
It's not normal, bro. Hey, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like the prophet Pimp C said, if you gay, say you gay. Me out here all busting people backsides all up and shit. Right? That's all I'm just saying, man. Just think about all the people that Oscar would like free if he was free himself. Like, but I mean, I might not rock with you, but I'll tell you this much: I'm not finna pick on a gay guy with a good jab.
Yeah, hell.
I mean, last thing you want to do is get knocked out by Fruit of the Loom. But nah, yeah, that was crazy though. He knew what he was doing. He was hoping somebody would bite and be hungry.
I feel he looks like when he walks down steps, he jumps off and clicks his heels.
Definitely one of those. Definitely one of them, man. I can see that.
I gotta finish out the show, James, with this last thing. I could not believe it. Man, it just seems like everything's going your way. You got some new coaching shoes you gonna get? What? These are Mandarin exclusive? Man, I saw these and was like, did they contact y'all? Did they get B-Fi on the phone to get this deal happening or what?
You would think, but nah, I got sent those by Luke, man. And I was like, "Yep, I got two. There's only two pairs of shoes right now that I'm excited about getting. Those in the red Jordan 4s that come out next Friday. Gotta have them.
Oh, the Nigel Sylvester. You know he was at the party with us, right? Nigel
Yes, I know.
Sylvester.
And he had a pair of them on.
Yeah, and you remember he got the girl didn't know who he was. The security didn't know who he was.
That was wild.
Yeah,
that was wild.
But
I can't get too caught up on being famous.
Yep, for sure. And James,
do we have the Joe? I know we don't normally do Joe Budden stuff, but did you see the Joe Budden was it Melissa Ford?
Yeah, I have that video. It's in the you talking about the Adam and Eve joke?
Oh yeah.
Miles, I sent it in the drive since the sound isn't working on my end, but it's I mean it's in the email. It's Adam and Eve in the email I sent.
No, it's just so funny. Like sometimes women are definitely the fairer sex, definitely smarter creatures at times, but sometimes they just the jokes write themselves.
A lot about women. I think I learned exactly how the fall of man occurred in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and Adam said one day, "Wow, Eve, here we are at one with nature, at one with God. We'll never age, we'll never die, and all our dreams come true the instant that we have them." And Eve said, "Yeah, it's just not enough, is
it?" No, that's not funny.
I was just waiting for more.
Well, that was kind of his point. That's kind of what he was saying.
I mean, a lot about women. I think I learned exactly. Dreams come true the instant that we have them.
That's the.
And Eve said, "Yeah, it's just not enough, is it?"
No, that's not funny.
I don't get it.
I was just waiting for more.
Well, that was kind of his point.
Yeah, like what do they mean by that? But nah, that's funny.
All right, to cap off the show, we got to finish this off the right way. Our GOAT, LeBron James, is the first player in NBA history to have 50,000 career points. So this is his playoff and regular season combined. He is the first player to get this 50,000 threshold. James, who do you think is beating this, man?
Nobody. Like nobody coming after him. Nobody's gonna be able to play this long. Like, that's just why I tell people, man, like anybody who argue, like if LeBron James was a doctor and he cured cancer, they'd be like, well, you didn't do anything for diabetes. Like, it's just, they're just going to move the goalpost regardless of the stuff instead of appreciating his greatness. I for one, am just going to appreciate how great this guy is, man, because you're not supposed to be able to live to see this. I'm afraid of who they're going to pass the torch to next. Like they're gonna have the NBA is gonna have an identity crisis way worse than they had when Jordan first retired. And even though Gil did bring up a really good point on First Take with Stephen A. Smith when they were all talking about, like, they brought up like like right now there's 6 players that I believe have had a championship, all pro, defensive player or MVP award before the age of 26. 6 players in NBA history who have done that. And Stephen A. Smith then were saying the league doesn't have a face. And Gil brought up who he's like, do you think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a great? He said, yes. All right, we got that. Do you think LeBron is a great? They say yes. They said, do you think there's a couple other players they brought up that were the old players that did it? But then he says, is Jason Tatum going to be considered to be a great? And he said he's on his way. He said, okay. Is Giannis a great? They say he has the potential to be. And so Gil says, well, there you have it. You have 2 faces of the NBA right now. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, you have guys who have done things that all-time greats have done that are still young. That's who you should be. You just choose to not talk about those people. You choose to talk about LeBron. And that's why LeBron is the face. Like, you could clearly make somebody else the face, but you're being lazy, is basically what Gil told Stephen A. Smith. And you know what he didn't get? It took him like 5 times. He was about as bad as Melissa Ford right there. And the reality is nobody has ever been drafted as high as LeBron, had as much hype as LeBron has had, and not fell to not fell. A man has exceeded all expectations, man. Like now you got people writing about how great Magic was. I think Magic went to like 9 straight NBA finals or something. And they're talking about, it's not talked about often enough. The same people who will bash LeBron I think LeBron went like 10 in a row, which is crazy in of itself too. So, but he might not be your GOAT. It doesn't matter. It's like people who say that's not my president. Got news for you. He's your president. So you can bash LeBron all day, all you want. Guess what he is? He is the best. I'm sorry. MJ might have been a killer. MJ might have been the most competitive person, so competitive that he even got his father murdered. But allegedly, that's why his dad did, some fines. I mean, didn't pay his gambling debt, so they just said, we'll square up right here. But LeBron doesn't have to worry about getting his father murdered because he doesn't know. We don't know who his father is. There's got to be another lie too, because at some point, black people are way too vain. Either his mom was like wild like that in the streets, and we just because you're never gonna hear that. And I'm not here to besmirch LeBron's mom, but like, dog, just put yourself in Miles. What would you do? Like? All right, at this point, I would have emerged. I'd be like, right. I just want, me and his mom. I wasn't ready to be like. I mean, at least at 16, 17, dog. Like, you got to know. There's a rumor of somebody in that place that's his dad. But like, to not know anybody, come on, dog. Black daddies ain't letting nobody be that good for that long and not popping up. Jay, what would you be honorable enough to know that LeBron was your son and not show up at 18, 19?
I'm showing up today.
I'm showing up, dog. Like, I'm sorry, brother. You like that somebody lying.
Yeah, I got this cool infographic right here. So left is LeBron's last MVP, and on the right, it's him since he's turned 40. So his last MVP, his numbers were 26.8 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, 7.3 assists per game, shooting 56, 41, and 75% splits. After turning 40 years old, he's averaging 26.4 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game, 8.3 assists per game, with splits of 55, 44, and 76. This is just video game numbers at this point.
You gotta respect that, man. Jealousy is a weak emotion. We gotta be stronger than that. Shout out to Bron.
Shout out to Bron, and that's it, James. If you had any last words for everybody in the chat, we got 398 people in here, 341 on Twitter though. Ouch.
Yeah, man. We gotta come on, guys. Like, come on, man. Damn it, Elon. Elon got it. Elon got the Twitter streets are bumping. Like nobody's commenting, none of that shit. But like, you know, if you would, from my Twitterers, if you would just join us at Den Media Group on YouTube. Once we get to every time we get to over an increment of 1,000, we give away bread. $500 to, I think this one we're trying to get to 7,000, so $500 to a random listener of my BS, and then another $200 to a member. We get to 10,000 subs by football season. We will have a we'll give away a pair of season tickets to your favorite school. Yeah, outside of that, guys, you know, just make sure you check the channel out for new things to do. If you want to know what a day in the life of an all-in member would have been at the combine, make sure you go check those things out. I don't know when I do know when. It'll be next week. TPC, if we have an all-in member that wanted to go hang out with me at a TPC and the TPC party, we have that. But you know, you'd have to be an all-in member. Again, everybody likes those memberships to those places that don't give you absolutely nothing. But check us out tomorrow. I think at 10 o'clock, I should have the guy who has the RAS metric. Excuse me. So we're going to talk about the combine members of the big three. We'll talk about some of the other guys that are top in the draft. Just talk about it, how he came up with the thing. And we'll try to draft the best players using the RAS score. So just an opportunity to learn more about the NFL draft as the brand is expanding. Again, make sure you guys check all the other different things out there we have, in particular Big Games Gridiron. Appreciate you guys for chopping it up with me. We will see you guys next time.